Welcome to our closing video of the COOPERATE project. My name is Marcel Bogers. I'm a professor of open and collaborative innovation, and I'm joined here by
Ntorina and Antoni. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at the Eindhoven University of Technology, working together with Marcel.
And of course, we've together with all our partners worked very hard in the last 30 months on our project, and today we had the pleasure to present some of the findings. So can you say a little bit more about what did we present here today?
Yeah, so today in our closing event we had the opportunity to present our joint results with our sister project EuroFabric, and we shared the inputs that we have developed so far in the COOPERATE project, and precisely we showed there was a co-creation process. We involved a lot of stakeholders since January 23 up until today. We had 5 pilots that really tested our tools and validated our initial assumptions or refuted them. So we ended up with developing a self-assessment tool, which is available in our website, a playbook and a toolbox with recommendations and concrete tools for ecosystems of different maturity levels to identify strengths and weaknesses to the self-assessment, and then use these tools to elevate their maturity across 7 lines of action. So these are the results that can all be found in our COOPERATE project, in the COOPERATE platform. And the platform also shows already the pilots that we have done, and also allows for other ecosystems to learn from what from lessons and best practices of existing pilots. So yeah, that would summarize, I think, most of it.
No, definitely. And some of the podcasts we also recorded give some examples of these different ecosystems and highlight some different aspects of it. I think, of course, we try to make the project very concrete on the one hand, but also grounded in research and a proper methodology. So maybe you can say a little bit more about our process, our approach, also from a methodological point of view. You mentioned these co-creation sessions. So how did we do that? How did that work?
So from an academic perspective, at the item group at TUE, we really like design science methodology. So what design science means is that really developing an artifact and then validating it and refining it based on the inputs of the case studies. So we had 5 case studies of the pilots, and what we really successfully managed to do is engage our stakeholders in a co-creation project, which means that we validated with them initial artifacts and we adjusted what was necessary in order to have the final prototype of our COOPERATE framework and COOPERATE tools. It was a really iterative process with a lot of feedback loops, and we cannot say that our results are conclusive, but they are solid enough given the time frame that we had. And ecosystems can actually access them in our website.
COOPERATEproject.eu.
That's correct.
So as you say, it's kind of a first step. So the objective of the project was really to develop a pilot of so-called era hubs, and there have been quite some changes in the policy space and still ongoing that we also reflected on during today. And that's maybe also looking ahead. So what do you see as somehow the next steps? Because of course we are closing the project, but at the same time it's only still beginning. So where do you see some of the major developments that we have come to, and what would be some of the next steps to take afterwards?
So when we started this project, it was really a puzzle to define what era hubs are, trying to understand the policy implications of this era policy agenda, and now they're not even part of this policy debate anymore as a concept. Yet the defining pillars of what an regional R&I ecosystem should consist of, our contributions are very relevant because we're really placing the university at the core of these ecosystems, and as main drivers of knowledge, fostering knowledge valorization, together with all the other stakeholders from the quadruple helix. So these findings are, let's say, our key contribution from the project. They can hold relevance not only from an academic perspective, how we view it in our own research, which is really interesting how we're going to advance that, but also from a policy point of view, into how is this going to tap into the overall knowledge valorization need that currently exists at the European level, and how do you bridge it with the regional level.
Okay.
But maybe I can turn also a last question to you, Marcel,
okay, yeah.
because you've been the one who is always interviewing everyone in this podcast. You also had one of your own. But because we talk so much about the fourth generation university and how this holds such an importance in our findings, but we're still a bit far from concretely conceptualizing that.
Yeah.
So what could we do to further concretize it?
Well, I mean, for me personally, the whole notion of fourth generation university is something that also was kind of a bottom-up development. So I think at our own university, TUE and Eindhoven, and also several other ones, really become interested in as a university, what role can you play in orchestrating the ecosystem in context of the large societal challenges that we face, involving quadruple helix partners, as you say. So I think it has been interesting to be part of that development, but as you say, it's also still at the beginning. So for me personally, our project has really helped to understand, okay, what are some of the key components? And we talk about lines of actions, how do you translate that to, okay, what are elements of such a fourth generation university? And in our project, we also focus very much on the maturity levels of the ecosystem as such. I think that's also something in the scope of developing towards the fourth generation university, something that we really, I think, should also consider. And then what are the different aspects that we can measure, but also can you benchmark yourself, maybe against yourself in the past? How can you develop? There's a maturity aspect of it, but also how does it relate to other types of ecosystems as well? So yeah, I think that's very much work in progress also, and I think indeed like an exciting follow-up opportunity that after the COOPERATE project, and in that sense I think it's really in line with some of those outcomes and also where we are in the policy landscape. So hopefully that will be one way that we follow up on it in the future. Yeah.
So stay tuned in our COOPERATE website, and
absolutely.
We will be posting any other developments either on this concept or other things that we might have the opportunity to continue working on.
Yes. Well,
thanks, Marcel.
Thank you. Thanks.